believe it is episode 6 of our How to Create Anime Characters. The theme for this one this time is going to be based on these creatures that come from a candy land. And currently we're making characters to kind of help build the story. I went ahead and started with a monster by the name of Big Wad. It's an artificial being or artificial monster created by the Bubble Gum Hoard. These enemies or antagonists that appeared from a being known as the mouth or the teeth. And from that, it released these monsters from the Bubblegum Horde, and they're running around and running amok and taking over different kingdoms of the Candyland here. So I have in this drawing here, Big Wad is in battle with a group of 4 little jawbreakers that are going about trying to keep him from capturing the residents of Lollipop Village. So when I went ahead and started this, I decided that I wanted to take a different route in my coloring approach. And what I chose to go ahead and do is work with grayscales to start. And being that I was working on a multiple layers, and this was being done or rendered digitally as well, I had the benefit of being able to change the grayscales over to color palettes or color versions after I got near with finishing the actual drawing itself. So what I went ahead and did to start is color in Big Wad, colored the all the bubblegum pieces, or colored his body. Went ahead and put the specks and the shadings and the colors also on the little jawbreakers and the ground as well. I'm filling in the background of the trees at the moment. And again, each individual grayscale or each individual item that I colored on here was its own layer. And as we continue further on through the video, you'll be able to see you go through the process of changing all of that over to color, from gray to color. So that was kind of fun. Something I may think about trying again. I'm not too certain, but I think sometimes going through this process may make it easier for an artist to choose their colors or to just switch their colors over. So I think I want to go ahead and try it a bit more before I give, I guess, a full breakdown of what I really enjoyed or didn't enjoy about it versus doing it the old-fashioned way that I've become accustomed to working in. Now, the blow pop that I worked on for him, I wanted to make something a little more intricate, something that may stand out. So instead of doing the blow pop, I opted to go for a lollipop. It took me a few times before I really found the shape and the exact swirl pattern that I liked, but I came up with one, and I decided as well to again work on using different layers for the different grayscales. Now, even though it is all in gray at the moment, there's still variances as far as the the light and dark between each gray pattern or gray color that I did choose for the picture here. And as I was working on this, I was thinking of, like, regarding the background, what did I want to go with? So I thought about Digimon, some of the earlier seasons of Digimon, and I liked the watercolor type of background that they used primarily throughout that first, at least I know the first season. I would see that quite often, so I attempted to think about how I wanted to tackle shading in the background or designing the background. So I definitely had that in mind, and I kept that in the forefront of my thought while I was working on this picture here. And I think if you can check out more about this story on our Instagram or on our Facebook page at kaijubrothers. And you can also check out _kaiju_art. My brother actually started this entire series here. It was based on one of his creations known as Red Hot, the Mean Bean King. So he's sort of like a anti-hero or of sorts that stood up for the candy pieces when they were being attacked by the bubblegum insurgents. So he's more so though fighting on his own pride and ego versus looking to be a hero himself. So very interesting character there. And so yeah, as you can see in this picture here, I went ahead and kind of went for more of a watercolor background. I played around with different designs first before I really found one that actually stuck with me. But once I did that and I found it, I pretty much was in my zone and able to go ahead and wrap up the background there. I had definitely for sure a lot of fun working on this. I look forward to possibly even drawing more characters to fit here in this world. Again, this is just something is more so of a rest or a breakaway from working on other projects that I am currently involved with at the moment. And again, I'd recommend that also. So when you're working on something as even an artist or a writer, it doesn't hurt to sometimes take a break, work on something that may not be as serious. That way you can practice, work on different things. I opted to definitely I wanted to play around with composition a lot more as well as backgrounds. So that can be seen here with what I'm working on. Composition, backgrounds, as well as perspective. So all three of those things are something that I wanted to play with more, and also color. Being this is more like a Candyland type theme, I got to play along with brighter colors and themes and whatnot that I'm not always necessarily privy to find myself tackling. So definitely good practice there. What I also decided to do was add a arm or a hand here for this character. I thought about, hey, while I'm working on the story here, I can possibly go ahead and add even more to the script. So at first I had it that this monster known as Big Wad was going to defeat the little jawbreakers and absorb them, and then come after the rest of the residents that were fleeing afoot from Lollipop Village. But I decided, let's go ahead and add more to the story, and also maybe not try to write something as bleak. So I opted to draw some mysterious little hero here that has appeared to thwart the schemes here of Big Wad and the Bubble Gum Hoards. So at this time I went ahead and I'm going through the process, as you can see, of actually swapping the colors from the grayscales to colors that I may have in my head of my choice that I wanted to play around with here. So that's a lot of the fun that I guess you're able to do if you work in all grayscales like this to start. Is there's a lot of colors that you get to play with versus you'd still do it regardless. Like if you do draw something, you can color and mix and match the colors as you see fit, as you would like to. That's one of the benefits of being able to work digitally. But this particular method in general, I guess, allows you to deal with the experience of color swapping maybe more so, being that they were already gray to start with. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to go ahead with this approach at first, was I guess it's easier for my brain to be able to play around with colors in my head and also work with lights and darks and shading and whatnot, going with this method versus just shading just to start then dropping colors. So this, again, one of the reasons I wanted to take this approach as well was just to show that there is not necessarily a right or wrong way for you to go about creating your artwork. The main point is to be able to experiment, to be able to have fun, and to definitely challenge yourself as well. So, definitely, if you check out some of the other videos I've had that the character art that I've worked on, there's an entirely different way, at least 2 or 3 other different methods I've used before to work on rendering the piece. So at this point, I've swapped the colors around. Everything really seems to pop, and I think it turned out pretty cool. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. It's very colorful, very vibrant. I was thinking as well about adding just some extra little fine details. So you have some light that's going off of the actual lollipop itself. And I was wondering what kind of weapon I wanted to add as well onto this little mysterious hero. I did give him claws that were made out of candy. Like some sort of like sour crystals that are able to petrify his enemies when he slashes them. So I thought that was kind of cool. I may actually end up just doing a slight redesign on this character that I drew here, and instead of giving him, because I think later on in the video I opted to give him claws, but I was actually really pushing towards gloves or some sort of brass knuckle type weapon for this character, and I may actually go ahead and revisit that and slightly redesign the character to give him some kind of knuckle weapon instead. But overall, again, that's also part of drawing. Sometimes you may create a character, you're satisfied with the design at first, and then after a while you look at it and say, hey, you know, maybe there's some things that I want to change. And that kind of happens often more so than you may even imagine or think. So at this point I gave him his guard. There he goes, his knuckle weapon. I'm drawing that right now. Gave it some kind of bright yellow type of metal that I wanted to place on there just to help stand out against the gloves, as well as the outer shell or the skin of this character here. And I'm really loving how this really turned out. It really pops. Again, I played with a lot more colors. I was definitely inspired by a lot of the artwork from the Immortal Hulk series, so it probably can't be seen, but I have been taking at least some kind of inspiration from that. That gave me a newfound push to want to get into coloring more. Very vibrant art. If you haven't seen that series, I definitely recommend checking it out. Be warned, though, a lot of gore, a lot of dark themes, though, so be careful for that. This is a forewarning. So after I went ahead and finished the drawing or the illustration of Big Wad going against Sour Punch, our hero here, I went ahead and actually drew on pencil and paper a picture of Sour Punch himself, Captain Sour Punch. And I went ahead and scanned this guy in here with the scanner. I think the scanner type that I'm actually using, I got a pretty good deal on it when I was able to buy it. And there weren't a lot that were available for sale, but it's the Plus Tech Optic Slim 1180. So it's a pretty decent large size scanner that I'm able to place large drawings in. That I, drew up and able to scan it in and digitally render it if necessary. That's the approaching in that I took with this guy here. So this is Captain Sour Punch that I'm drawing, the mysterious hero that has appeared to take down Big Wad and the Bubble Gum insurgents. So a lot of fun working on this guy as well. Had a idea to go with something cool between like an M&M and the 7-Up spot. If anybody's old enough to actually remember that mascot that was used with 7-Up, kind of had that energy behind it that I wanted to use with him. Not so much of Captain Commando, but I was thinking maybe that could be some of his nature or attitude with this guy here. Now, I just wanted to draw like a little cool pose for him, and I guess to give more information, since this is a whole entire character design series, Captain Sour Punch, he's more so of a hero than you would expect Red Hot to actually be. Now, so I guess, so what you would see, so Sour Punch, he's like a bright little jawbreaker. He's always showing up to try to thwart the plans of the Bubble Gum Hoard. And again, he's always trying to make sure that justice is delivered swift, but it's sweet and sour as well. So the claws that he dons, which again I may redraw later on to be like brass knuckles or some kind of knuckle weapon instead, but it's fortified with sour crystals, and that's used to actually petrify or freeze his strong opponents that he may run into. But his whole gimmick, I would imagine, or want to place, is he runs about trying to help residents that are being attacked by the Bubble Gum Hoard here. Now, I went ahead and sketched in the line work for this guy, and at this time I was thinking of possible ways to, I would say, what kind of color scheme. So like what kind of color scheme that I want to go for this candy piece here. And thinking about it, when I'm thinking about things that are sour or thinking about things that are sweet, and I'm thinking about a candy or a jawbreaker for that matter that may fall into that, well, you say, well, frogs...